Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together how to peace out. And I've had opportunities already this morning to try to practice. I don't know how good I'm doing, but I'm working on it. Right? It's a work in progress, right? So this morning I found myself in Psalm 59. Psalm 59 is a really cool psalm. It's not like there's any that's not cool to me, right? But David is being pressed in by Saul's army, right? And he's like, he doesn't know what he's going to do. They have come and they're waiting outside his house, hoping he's going to come outside so they can capture him and kill him, right? So imagine sitting in your house surrounded by an army and people wanting to try to get it. They're just waiting for you to come out. And back then, there was bathrooms outside. They weren't in the house, so he was going to come out at some point, right? They were waiting outside his house, waiting for him to come outside so they could get him. And so this whole psalm, the first 15 verses, he's talking about my enemies are there, God. They're just waiting for me to fall. They're standing there. They're hoping I'm going to lose. They're here to get me. God, what do I do? And so, a lot of it is prayer. He's praying. He's like, because of your God, God, I'm going to watch for you. God, you are my stronghold. He's reminding himself, in your loving kindness, you will meet me here. You will let me look triumphantly at my foes. He had to have been scared on some level, right? Concerned, at least minimally, at least concerned, because all these enemies are sitting outside just waiting for him to come outside so they could kill him, Saul's men, right? And so he felt surrounded. And I know we don't always have a physical enemy in this world, but we do have, sometimes our circumstances can feel like it's just pressing in on us, right? Our enemies might be fear, it might be doubt, it might be a financial situation, it might be sickness, it might be just fill in the blank, right? We can have situations that feel like they're just pressing in on us, just waiting for us to fail, waiting for us waiting to step in and crush us in that last moment, right? But David said this in verse 16. He said, but as for me, and but is a conjunction. It turns everything around. He's like, I'm looking at the enemy. I see the enemy. I know they're out there, but, but I will sing of God's strength. He says, yes. This sounds funny to me because, he says, as for me, I will sing of your strength. Yes, I shall joyfully sing of your loving kindness in the morning, for you have been my stronghold and a refuge in the day of my distress. So he's like stressed out, right? And he's like, but I'm going to praise God. I'm going to sing about how strong God is. I'm seeing my enemies. I'm seeing these things come at me. I know all these things that are pressing in on me, but I'm going to sing about God's strength. And then he says, yes, I will. And so he's really trying to convince himself, this is what I'm going to do. He's emphasizing it. Yes, I will joyfully. Not only am I just going to sing about what God's going to do in his strength, I'm going to joyfully, seriously get in there and sing about God's loving kindness, about how God is my stronghold, about how God is my refuge. And then he says, oh, my strength, I will sing praises to you. He turned that direction directly to God. And sometimes we can feel surrounded, right? There's a real popular song, it may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. You know where that came from? I don't know. But but I know that there's a story in 2 Kings 6, and Elisha is in a similar situation. And his servant got up that morning, or the man who is attending him, the man who is working with him in ministry and making sure his needs were met, right? Gets up and goes outside, and the Armenian army has come to take Elisha. They are right there. So he runs back inside and he says, oh, my master, there's a huge army out there and they're here to get you. And Elisha's like, it's okay. There's more with us than there is with them. And the guy's like, dude, you don't understand. There's an army out there, an army, real horses, real men, real chariots. They're all out there. They got swords and spears and bows and arrows, and they're coming to take you. And Elisha goes, God, open his eyes and let him see. And God opened the servant's eyes, Elisha's servant or whatever they call him. It says one who is his attendant in the New King James, the New American Standard. And so, and when God opened his eyes, the army that was surrounding them was surrounded by God's army. right? So they weren't alone in that valley. Very similar to how David is feeling surrounded. The army is there to get them. They're waiting to kill him, and yet he knows that surrounding that army is God's army. Now, the story in 2 Kings 6 is really cool because what Elisha didn't stress out. I don't know how he didn't. He just went, okay, God, strike them with blindness. And God made the army blind. And he went, oh, do y'all need some help? Here, let me help you. So he gathered them up because they were very vulnerable. All of a sudden, his enemy was eating out of his hand, quite literally, right? And so he gathered up this army and he took them to his king. And the king was like, let's kill him. And Elisha said, don't kill him, feed him, feed them. The guy fed them and they went home, but they were so that the experience was so traumatic, they never bothered him again, right? And Elisha didn't even raise a sword against them, right? And so David is here and he's in a similar situation. His enemies are surrounding, and he's this whole psalm is about how almost the whole psalm is about how they're pressing in on me. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Right? They're mocking me. They're laughing. They were probably cheering outside, going, "Come on outside, David. Come on outside. Come kill a giant today. Come on, let's play." And maybe they were taunting him. He acts like they were taunting him, but he was going, "I'm going to meet them with the mercy of God. I'm going to meet them. God's going to be my stronghold. I'm going to sing about God even in this situation." Elisha turned to God when he was surrounded and didn't know what to do. His attendant didn't know what to do. David turned to God when he was surrounded and didn't know what to do. If you are surrounded today, just sing. It sounds silly. Just feed them, right? And so it's like, it sounded silly for Elisha to feed them, but they actually prepared a meal for them while they're captives, and then sent them home, and they never came back and bothered him again. And David, we know David's going to win this battle too, right? But he, in the middle of the battle, he said, I'm going to look back at God. I'm not going to look at my enemy. I'm going to look at my God that's surrounding my enemy that's trying to surround me. Because my God is bigger than the enemy that's surrounding me, right? So yeah, the enemy's there. In both of these situations, they had a real enemy that was really there, tangible, real flesh and blood people coming after them to try to kill them. But in that moment, God was there, bigger than their enemy. And that's what they chose to look at. So yeah, maybe there are some enemies there. We got enemies. There's always something coming at us. I can't, I can give you my list this morning of the things I'm going, oh my goodness, about, right? But you've got your own list. But just remember that past that oh my goodness list, there's an oh my God list. That's my God is surrounding my enemies, even though my enemies are surrounding me. And God never loses a battle, and he's not going to lose this one either. So we just got a purpose to say, I'm going to sing about God. It sounds dumb. Maybe it doesn't even seem appropriate, but did you know God's goodness doesn't change even when you're surrounded by an enemy? God's goodness doesn't change even if you give in to doubt or fear or decide not to trust him. Who he is doesn't change. God doesn't go, oh, I thought I was really strong. I thought I had this one. No, he's like, come on, get with it. I got you. I got you. Right? And so God's goodness doesn't change. His mercy doesn't change. His strength doesn't diminish because you don't believe he can do it. It doesn't change the truth that he can do it, that he can win the battle, that he can give you peace in the middle of the storm, that he can surround your enemy and take them down, right? He's got you. You can trust him for it. And that's why you can peace out. You just got to look past the enemy and look at God, like David said. But as for me, I'm going to sing about God's strength. I see the enemy. I see everything crashing in, but I'm going to sing about the strength of God. Not my strength, but God's strength. And that's how we're going to get through that battle. And that's how we're going to peace out. Peace out, you guys. Have a great weekend. I'll see you bright and early Monday morning.